However, the dimension today would involve having a closer look at Scrum, getting to understand some of the fundamentals, the different elements, like the roles, just taking a deep dive into Scrum, really. That's what we'll be discussing today. Now, if you recollect, so Scrum is an agile framework, right, that provides structure for the iterative development, of whatever products we are involved in. Now, Scrum as a framework consists of certain roles, certain ceremonies, artifacts, as the case may be. So Scrum has roles. We'll be taking a deeper look into the different roles. Okay, so you get to understand who a product owner is, who a Scrum Master is, and who a development team member is. So within the Scrum roles, we have the product owner, we have the Scrum Master, we have development team. So there are 3 core roles within Scrum framework. For the ceremonies, Scrum has sprint planning meeting, daily stand-ups, sprint review meetings, and sprint retrospect meetings. Now, these meetings are basically targeted towards ensuring that Agile remains agile, if I'll put it that way, that the Scrum iterative process remains agile, that the team members are able to plan, the team members are able to check on a daily basis what is going on as we are delivering. The team members are also able to do some sort of a review at the end of the sprint to check if what they had worked on during the course of the sprint is in line. And then they're able to have what we call retrospective meeting, where they have to review or look back on what they had done, what they didn't do well, how they could improve upon, what they had done in the last sprint in an attempt to become even better as they move into subsequent sprint session. We have what we call artifacts. Artifacts are basically product backlogs, the sprint backlogs, and, the increments, all right, which could be represented by a burn-down chart. So we have 3 core agile artifacts, okay? The product backlog, sprint backlog, and the burn-down chart, which, of course, we are talking about the increments. So the increments, these are the outputs. So we monitor those outputs using burn-down charts, okay? Now, we move straight to a Scrum team, just to give you also an overview of what a Scrum team looks like. Now, the Scrum team, the fundamental unit of Scrum is a small team of people, a Scrum team. So the units of a Scrum team is called the small team of people, within Scrum framework is called a Scrum team. Now, the Scrum team consists of 1 Scrum Master, 1 product owner, and developers. Now, within a Scrum team, there are no sub-teams or hierarchies. It is a cohesive unit of professionals focused on one objective at a time. Now, this simply explains the fact that within a Scrum team, there are no sub-Scrum teams. But later on during the course of this session, we will touch on what we call scaled Agile. Scaled Agile permits such smaller sub-teams in the event where we have, say, a very big project that requires a huge number of persons to deliver such projects, so we can have them split into sub-teams. But in the context of a Scrum team, there is no sub-teams. But in the context of scaled Agile, there are sub-teams. Now, speaking further, the team is typically made up of 7 to 9 people. So a typical Scrum team is made up of 7 to 9 people. The team is cross-functional. Cross-functional meaning that we have a combination of different professionals coming from different knowledge leaning, coming together to deliver a particular project with one goal. Now, these professionals could be product owners, Scrum Masters, programmers, software testers, UI, UX designers, all these different persons coming together to form a Scrum team of between 7 to 9 people to deliver a particular project that has a common goal. So that's why it's called cross-functional. So a Scrum team is cross-functional. And then, of course, a typical of a Scrum team is that it should be on a full-time basis. All right. So, except there are certain exceptions that could play out where either because of the arrangements with the organization, one could be on a part-time basis because, of course, Scrum, Agile is flexible. So we're able to also accommodate some level of flexibility in dealing with a typical Agile project. Now, speaking to the Scrum roles, I'll begin with a product owner. So who is a product owner? Now, a product owner is someone who defines the features of the product, meaning that a product owner is someone who defines what is to be done within that particular Scrum team. How does he define that? He interacts with the client. A product owner is one who interacts with the client, who interfaces with the clients, the owners of the business, who understands their perspective or what they want to achieve out of the project, and then comes back to relate same with to the Scrum team. So he pretty much defines the features of the product based off of his experience or her experience or her interaction with the product, the owners of the product. Now, having understood that, a product owner also decides on release date and content. So that means that a product owner decides the key timelines for this particular product. So the product owner interfaces with the client who tells them they need XYZ delivered, and because of the peculiarity of the project they are about to deliver, the client wants it delivered within 3 months. So the product owner comes, engages the Scrum team, lets them understand the product goal and the product vision, give them all the necessary support, and give them the timelines for delivering this in line with the understanding he has, with the owners of the business or the owners of the product. Now, the product owner also is responsible for the profitability of the product. So, which means a product owner not only delivers this product to the client, but ensures that this product becomes profitable to the client. So product owner interfaces with the client, gets to understand what the client wants to build, then goes into the team to relate same to the team to tell them the direction of what the client wants to achieve. After the team had achieved that, he also goes back, work with the client and ensure that this particular product that had been delivered meets the profitability threshold. So you see, the role of a product owner is very, very key and strategic. Now, again, the product owner does what we call prioritization of the product backlog items according to market values. All right. So which means whatever the product owner is telling the Scrum team to build part-time is based off of the understanding of the importance of that particular feature in line with the market reality or in line with the market demand per time. All right. So the product owner is interfacing with the client, getting to understand where the client is driving at, get to understand the market realities or the market dynamics, and then prioritize what the team would be working on per time in line with all this information. Now, a product owner also adjusts features and priorities every iteration as needed. So every time every time the Scrum team goes over the iterative process of delivering a particular output or increment, the product owner is also able to come back and say, "Hi guys, this is the new, this is the market realities. This is what we are driving at during the course of the next sprint. This is the, this is the direction the business wants us to go. So this is what we are building. These are the new features. Kudos for the last sprint, but in the subsequent sprints, this is what we are dealing, courtesy of the market demand." So you see, the product owner is able to adjust features, is able to adjust development features or what the Scrum team are working on part time, especially as would be needed. All right. So the product owner also decides on what we call definition of done. So the product owner either accepts or rejects work results. So which means the product owner, after the Scrum team had developed, the output, the product owner has the prerogative to either accept what the Scrum team had delivered or reject. So in the instance where they accept, then that becomes an increment, then that goes into production. That goes into production, which means we begin to talk about when do we release it into the market for users to start using this product. Now, if it gets rejected, then it means that the Scrum team would have to recalibrate because it got rejected. So the Scrum team would have to recalibrate, get it fixed, and then get it rolled out again. And once it gets accepted, especially during UATs, we get to go into production and then subsequently release the product to the end users. All right. Now, I'll just sum this using a very typical example, just so you understand and relate even more, considering the example I'll relate. Okay. So I'll share a screen now where we think about the idea and then we break it down accordingly for this particular project. You are the client. So you had engaged me that you want to build a pension, you want to build a platform, more like a platform that allows for persons to save towards their retirement. Organizations can also save on behalf of their employees, but the focus is to have persons, save towards their own retirement. Now, could you tell me what you are thinking about as a client? You are the client now. Can you tell me, if I ask you a few questions? Now, what would you like to see in this particular platform? What would you like to see in this platform, if I would ask that question?
Okay, are you talking about the pension website?
Yes.
Okay. What I would like to see as a client is easy access for pensioners or potential pensioners to easy websites that is easy access for them to use on their phones, as well as maybe their computers, and very demonstrative and easy website that is not complicated for elderlies and young people. Not very complicated ones. And I would also like to see the options and like payment plan visible this on the home page, and very visible and accessible for the end users. I would say the end users based off of the age. I would also like to make the payment plan easy. And also, I don't know if I'm too fast. Also describe and mention there that it's operating an open plan policy, such that the elderly ones are not scared that when they are entering their details, and they can understand that it is very legal. And I also like to include that they can find it's very easy for them to find help, like maybe live chat and accessible customer representative when they're having difficulties in setting up their plans and getting the option of pension plans to go for. I think